Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user Wenwenu. I, 23 female, told my boyfriend, 25 male, that I won't get a job to make him feel less jealous of my financial situation. English isn't my first language and I'm not good at writing, but I seriously need an advice from people not connected to us. I have been dating my boyfriend for a little over a year now. We met through mutual friends and had a pretty usual relationship until now. It wasn't perfect, but we never fought much. He works as a manager in a restaurant while I'm still in university. His life was pretty difficult from the start since he grew up with alcoholic parents and not much support in general. Since day one, he had to work hard for even the most basic things. He couldn't allow himself to get higher education. He had to continuously work since he entered adulthood. I, on the other hand, have a big family that always supports each other. When I started going to university, they continued to financially support me. My parents help with the bills and give me some allowance. Grandparents, aunts, and uncles also often send things here and there. I'm on the campus for my lectures most of the time, but I also tutor 3 times a week, getting enough money from it for groceries. I'm good at living below my needs and saving, so I don't need that much cash. All that background is needed for you to understand where our conflict started. Around a month ago, my boyfriend started making little comments about my financial situation. He would say, "It's nice to spend someone else's money," or "You wouldn't survive if you had to work for all that money the way I do." I immediately caught on to those comments, but I didn't think it would grow into something more. I thought that maybe he's just fuzzy because he's overworked, and I tried to be understanding, knowing it must be difficult for him to work as much as he does. I proposed that maybe we should move in together to lessen the burden of all the bills on him. I even said that I can help him with some groceries from time to time. He called that insulting and said that he could never agree to either of those ideas. Unfortunately, it got worse. It feels like almost every day we fight as he calls me lazy, a trust fund baby, or says that I don't know what real life feels like. He also started sending me random job listings, telling me to apply, even though I don't have any time for those jobs. The biggest fight was yesterday. He came over to my home for dinner, and while I was cleaning, started talking about another job listing. By this point, I was at my limit after seeing like 100th random job offer. I blew up at him, angrily telling him to stop telling me to get a job, that university is my job and my main focus. I must admit that I said some mean things along the lines of, "You only want me to get a job because you are jealous of my situation, of my family's support." He stormed out and doesn't really talk to me now. He sends short messages back, but he doesn't pick up his phone. I tried apologizing, but he tells me that he needs time to think everything through. Was I truly that harsh? How do I make him see my point? Or maybe he has a better point and I should deny my family support, filling my schedule to the brim with uni and work? Is there even a way for us to reconcile? Please help. This is my first serious relationship and I don't want to mess it up. Well, Pete, for sure your boyfriend has been through a really crappy life and that sucks, but why is he taking it out on you? His struggle doesn't justify turning his resentment into your problem. What's happening here, in my opinion, isn't about money. It's about insecurity and pride. Another theory is that maybe he's not taking it out on you. Maybe he thinks that because he doesn't see you work as hard as he does, then you're missing something, or that struggle equals worth. But whatever it is, it's not on you to do something to make him feel better about himself. You don't need to deny anything. You don't need to get a job. And his whole attitude about this thing and about you right now, honestly, I think it's time to cut loose. But if you do want to reconcile, the first thing is in the conversation that you guys need to have. He needs to acknowledge that this is all something that he needs to work on. You can support him, but it's not your work to do. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. And now let's check out the community comments. Additional Gur 7915 says, "He's seeing you succeed and wants to bring you down to his level. Don't allow it. I also don't think this is the man for you. If he feels bad about you helping with groceries, how will he feel when you have a uni degree and will earn more than him?" And Dopey responds, "That's actually a really good point. I'm not studying something that will make me extremely rich, but it is the kind of degree that will allow me to live a very comfortable life. Thank you for giving me something to think seriously about." Rose Admin Talks says, "He's jealous and taking it out on you. You offered support and he doesn't know how to accept it. This isn't your fault, OP. Don't take his unhealthy reaction as truth. Find someone who celebrates, not berates you for having family support." Noni Wobbles says, "You're not messing it up, he is. There will be other relationships. This is not the relationship. Your partner should add to your life, not be a source of constant quarreling and anxiety because they keep trying to cause conflict. You stay broken up, you move on. You don't let anyone make you feel bad for not having the same life experience as they did, or entitled to dictate your relationship with your family, the course of your studies or career, or any of that. Breaking up sucks, but wasting years of your life pursuing someone who is not mentally healthy enough to be in a relationship would suck a lot more. Don't waste your life on someone who is obviously not the guy." And Adorable Fail 8871 says, "There's a lot of context missing, but it depends how long you have left at uni. If you've ever had a job before and what your plans are after uni. I'm surprised to see comments so one-sided. Whilst you were lucky to be in a position where you can focus 100% on uni and not have to do weekend shifts, a lot of business acumen is earned through work experience, not uni. If you finish uni and have no work experience to speak of in your mid-20s, that might not work in your favor. The way your boyfriend is handling the situation is quite passive-aggressive, but he still has a point. If you want a future together, it might be important to him that you have a good work ethic. At the end of the day, it's clear he wants you to get a job for your own benefit, since he turned down your offer about helping him with groceries." And Dopey responds, "I love to try and answer the questions you asked to try and add some context. I started my final year of uni, so I should be done with it by June next year. I didn't add this to the post as it felt unimportant, but I did work in the past, although I always knew that my family would support me, because that's the kind of people they are. I wanted to put something from me into it as well. I worked during high school. Each month, I saved most of it and gave a small part of it to my parents as symbolic rent. It wasn't anything special, mostly cleaning after hours or doing paperwork stuff, but it's still something that will help my CV look less empty, if everything goes well. Also, I already have a job to start in after uni. The place I did an internship in as part of my studies really liked me and for now wants me to join them when I finish studying." Well, as we see, most of the community agrees that this might be the end for this relationship and that OP needs to move on, that her boyfriend's resentment is not something that OP needs to take over. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. I thought that I should make an update for those who might be curious about how my situation got resolved. A lot of the comments advised me to break up, but I couldn't just do that. I wanted to at least try and talk it out, foolishly hoping that suddenly we would find common ground and fix everything. A few days after the fight, he finally called me to set up a meeting to discuss everything. Between the fight and the setup meeting, I've been looking for some solution myself. Per advice on here and from my in real life friends, I tried looking for some outside support and I researched some well-rated but cheap therapists around the area. When we finally met, he was the one who really wanted to speak first. He told me that he appreciated that I gave him a few days of space to think things through. Then, he said that he hates to do it to me, but he needs to give me an ultimatum. If I wanted to stay with him, I need to find a job and cut financial support from my family by the end of this month. I could see that no but in the world could sway him to change that choice for him. I didn't even have a chance to mention the help I've been researching, kind of freezing for a moment instead. It might sound silly, but I never experienced love disappear as quickly as it did in that moment. I didn't even know that was possible. His words broke whatever charm he had and made me see that ultimatum for what it truly was, his attempt at managing my life to match whatever idea he had in his mind. All the comments from here flooded my mind as I realized that all of you were correct. Sorry for even doubting you all. I broke things off immediately. I wish I could say that I told him something smart or cheeky, but I literally just said that I'm done and left, tearing up the whole way back home. He called and messaged me a lot since then, saying that maybe we can discuss things, that it doesn't have to be an ultimatum, but a goal for the future, etc. But I don't think there's a way of fixing things. I'd be lying if I said that I don't have any love left for him. It was my first serious relationship that I thought might genuinely last, but now it turned into my first serious breakup. Things are a bit difficult now as I grieve the idea of my first love, but I know that I'll get better sooner or later. Your advice in the last post was pretty helpful and gave me lots to think about, so I'd like to ask you for one more advice. If you were me, what would you tell mutual friends in a situation like this? I'm already getting asked by our friends about what exactly happened, but I'm worried that if I tell them the truth, this whole drama will continue, people will be talking about it, and I won't be able to emotionally rest from this situation. I'm tempted to just tell them it was a mutual breakup or something, just to be done with it and leave it in the past. Well, Pete, yeah, breaking up was the right thing to do for you. That ultimatum, definitely not gonna work. And what to tell your friends? Just tell them the truth. He gave me an ultimatum I didn't agree with, and we broke up. And I don't want to talk about this anymore. I want to move on. And that's it. If your friends push on the situation, just tell them that you won't talk about it and you want to move on. And then you just ignore the topic and move on. So on that note, OP, here's wishing you the best. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user BullfrogLow8652. Am I the a-hole if I didn't go to my stepkid's Thanksgiving and planned my own for my own kids? My husband and I have been married for 34 years and together for 36. He has 5 kids and I have 4. When we got together, his oldest was about 13 and his youngest was 7. My oldest was 11 and my youngest was 6. All the kids get along fairly well, although it's a bit different since the kids are now all adults. My husband and I used to always host Christmas and Thanksgiving at our place, and we would invite all the kids and spouses and their kids. It started to make for a really large group when they all got together, and our 1,700 square foot house got pretty crowded. When one of my husband's daughters bought a very large home, she started offering to host the holidays at her place, which was great. The only problem though is that she rarely would invite my kids. I asked her the first couple of times if it was okay if they came, and she apologized profusely and said she meant to include them. She has my kids' phone numbers, but just forgot. This year, at least the third time she's forgot, she once again sent out an invite, but only to her siblings, my husband and I. I should include here that for the longest time at family get-togethers, she would often ignore me. It was very obvious by the way she acted that she didn't really like that I was there. She's kind of like my husband in that if she likes you, she'll talk to you, but if she doesn't, you get ignored. It really hurt. My husband and I weren't allowed to ever watch her kids. After she divorced her husband, she sort of apologized and has been trying to do more to make me feel part of everything. However, here we are again, the holiday family get-together and a lack of invite extended to my kids. I told my husband if she doesn't want to invite my kids, I'll just go do something else with them on that same day, and he and his kids can have their dinner. We don't usually celebrate the actual holiday on the actual day. I'm really tired of trying to feel a part of her life, and although she included me in the invite, I feel like since she didn't invite my kids, she is still trying to exclude me and my family, all of whom she pretty much grew up with. My husband told me to just text his daughter to find out if it's okay that my kids come. I don't feel like I should have to do that again at this point. I told him he could always bring it up with his daughter, though it isn't likely he will do that. So would I be the a-hole if I didn't go and plan a separate dinner with just my kids? Any advice would be appreciated. No, OP, after 3 times, it's clear that she doesn't want to have your kids around. Don't know what happened, but she doesn't want them. Which is fine, but it is an invitation, not a summons. You're not obligated to go, and if you want to have Thanksgiving with your kids, then you should do that. And if your husband has a problem, well, he should talk to his daughter or spend Thanksgiving with you, or just go to his daughter's house like you suggested. But no, OP, you wouldn't be the a-hole, and you don't need to pursue someone who doesn't really want to be around you. So no, don't ask her anything. And if once again she says that she just forgot, you can call her out. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. KM Flushing says, not the a-hole. Since they're all going to her house, there is now room in your house to host your kids and their families. Do it. This Weekend in the Regency says, so your husband is okay with his daughter excluding the children he raised? Apple didn't fall far from the tree. Go and have a great day with your kids and require your husband to tell his daughter why you're not there. I suspect she won't care, but it's worth saying. The problem I would have with this is that the man who helped raise my children doesn't care enough about them to want to spend holidays with them. That's a different and more serious problem to me, not the a-hole. Cyblaze says, not the a-hole. She's passive-aggressive as heck. Stop going. Enjoy your kids. He can enjoy his. You should not have to ask her to include your kids. She knows who they are and how to reach them. She's actively choosing not to invite them. Well, I'd never. Says, your stepdaughter is doing it on purpose. Effing obviously. I roll. And your husband knows it and doesn't care enough or at all about you, your feelings, or your kids and their feelings to do crap about it. Also effing obviously. Another eye roll. So he's an a-hole, she's an a-hole, and you're being a doormat. Go spend the holidays with your kids. Every time. Not the a-hole. And Drunken Donkey Tail says, give up. The family didn't blend. She includes you, so that's something. Instead of feeling hurt on behalf of your children, have you asked them what they think and feel? No lying, no pretending, just telling them the truth, all of it, and hearing what they say. It's quite possible they don't feel you all blended either. And Dopey responds, I will have this discussion with my kids. I can take and handle whatever they want to tell me. I know I have not been a perfect mom. They should be able to say what has bothered them about how I raised them. The community agrees OP is not the a-hole, that she may have a husband problem also, and that the stepdaughter is an a-hole and doing it on purpose. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Thank you everyone for your advice, the good and the not as good, but listened to and taken in. I don't wish to make things worse for anyone. I'm usually a pleaser and try to be an all-inclusive person. But I know that's not how everyone works. I also know that my stepdaughter has a right to invite who she wants. I had just hoped that by having it changed to her home, she would continue to include my kids on the invite as well. I guess if I want an all-family holiday dinner, I need to have it at my home, not for every get-together we have throughout the year. My husband did end up texting his daughter last night, but hasn't heard back. I would have liked to have a full discussion with her, but she's not one to say how she really feels anyway, so we really have to go by her actions. Anyway, I'll probably end up going to her holiday dinner, and I or my husband will end up having a separate holiday dinner with my kids. My husband does get along pretty well with my kids generally. It's a ton more work. My husband is in his 70s and I am 65, but we can't do it occasionally. We, or I, might just take my own kids out to dinner. I know I definitely need to lower my expectations. Well, OP, you did mention that you guys don't celebrate Thanksgiving on the date, so if having two separate dinners is what you guys are gonna go for and you're okay with it, that's fine. And regarding your stepdaughter, yeah, I wouldn't waste any energy on that anyways. So on that note, here's wishing you the best, OP. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance and it's by user Jod Railbanks Pants, ghosting and loving it. Recently, my company introduced a new process for supplying customers with expensive consumables. Previously, this process involved a lot of direct communication, numerous emails, and face-to-face meetings with customers to understand their needs. However, while I was on paid time off, everything changed. Without any notice or consultation, a completely new system was implemented. My team, which used to handle about 65% of the previous process, had no involvement whatsoever in designing or approving this new method. Now, instead of collaborating directly with customers and colleagues, I've been given a standardized form divided into 4 sections. One for me, one for sales, one for logistics, and one for territory assistant and managers. My section of the form is minimal. All I do is indicate how many boxes to supply. Critical details such as who the customer is, where the order is going, pricing adjustments, and preferential rates, information I used to manage, are no longer included. To make things worse, customer details on the forms are often incorrect. I used to fix those errors in the system, but I no longer have permission to do so. That's now handled by head office. Even though I know my customer base well and try to provide accurate updates, my emails now bounce back. When I raised these issues, I was simply told to follow the form and not deviate. So I did. I completed my section, sent it to the designated address, and moved on. Nothing happened until months later when a customer called to say they were running critically low on consumables. I escalated the issue to my manager, but by that point, I had already submitted 24 forms without any feedback or visible results. Recently, while I've been off recovering from surgery, I received an email asking for the same data I used to provide under the old system. I've chosen not to respond. That information is scattered across old emails and records, and it's no longer my responsibility. Ironically, the new process that was supposed to reduce costs and simplify operations has left 3 department heads confused and unable to proceed. They don't know the customer names, product details, we have 197 different products, or order history, only the number of boxes. The system they rely on can't function without accurate data input, and since I'm now strictly following the form as instructed, that data isn't being entered anymore. In short, the process has stripped away the practical knowledge and collaboration that once made the system work. It's inefficient, confusing, and ultimately counterproductive. Well, OP, that usually happens when things are designed in a desk with no input from the people that actually are in the process. Hopefully the company will learn, but yeah, ghosting is right. Thanks for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.